I've yet to mention it's a 40-hour work week, apparently, today. Tom, when's the last time, as we welcome in our friend Tom Murphy, Whole Hog Sports, Arkansas, Democrat-Gazette. Tom, when's the last time you've worked 40 hours in a week? Like when you were 15?
Good morning, y'all. You threw me a curveball there. The open week, I might have had less than 40. I went up to Kansas City on Friday and helped the family do a bunch of stuff. So, yeah, I'd say open week.
Always a family man. Well, Starkville on Saturday, 11:45. We'll have all of it right here on ESPN Arkansas, hitthatline.com. Really seems like that Sam Pittman and Bobby Petrino are going to lean on Braylen Russell this weekend based on his comments. Tom, what should we be expecting about a freshman running back that grew up in the state, went to Benton, and now gets his first real opportunity on Saturday?
Yeah, that's the thing about Sam Pittman is, like, he'll say something like that. Like, okay, I bet Braylen will probably get the most carries, but is he saying that they're just going to really lean on their run game? I don't know. I don't know if he's, like, necessarily broadcasting the plan, but I think generally he means that Russell's going to get a good amount of run. And if there's holes there, the kid's going to make some yards. I mean, LSU tackled quite well last week. They got him, like, he bounced a couple things outside and got nothing. The guy who'd get him on the edge would bring him down. But it hadn't happened in the Tennessee game, and he's run the ball very successfully. So, Jaquindon Jackson has a great jump cut, great vision. I mean, I just think back to the Oklahoma State game, the number of times he got it and went through an open hole and then got more yardage because the safety would, he'd jump cut him or make some kind of move and he'd get extra yards. And so Russell's more the run forward, run ahead type guy. But I think he's going to be a very effective runner. And certainly in the modern college game, you have complementary guys, 2-3 different guys. And so I think they'll need more. I think they'll need DeBinion. And if Hill's available, hopefully he'll pitch in too. But I think it goes to say that Arkansas really wants to be able to maybe control the game a little bit the way they did Tennessee and kept them on the sideline a lot in the game 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. Tom, I'm trying to figure out Mississippi State. I know they're 1-6 and they haven't won a conference game, but they've played at the times number 1, number 5, number 13 in the country in their last 3 games. Played Georgia and A&M to within 10. Or it was exactly 10 in both those games. Mm-hmm. Am I wise to be cautious about, feeling like this should be an easy win? I hear some people that have, said, well, we're going to win at Mississippi State, beat Louisiana Tech, be bowl eligible, and we'll see if we can steal a couple others. I think there's going to be nothing easy about this game just based on the way they've played their last 2.
Yeah, that's my take too. And I'm like you. I'm trying to figure out who they are. And because if you look at the numbers, the defensive numbers are not good against them. But if you look at the competitive nature of the games, you're saying these guys are really fighting. Now,
maybe it's who they become rather than who they are, because I think it's about who they've become the last 3 weeks.
Exactly. And is it that Georgia took them a little light, that Georgia was a between big games meeting for them, and that A&M, just mentally wasn't really attuned to the game? Because you cannot – it's hard to have the same focus game to game. I mean, look at Arkansas's focus in the Tennessee game versus LSU. So it's difficult. And so what Arkansas can't afford is a lull, like a UAB-type performance, because I think they will lose. But if they're able to establish the run, convert third downs the way they have been, finish drives with touchdowns, and then just get off the field a few times on defense, then I think they'll have a chance to win. If it's tight with the cowbells and how hard Mississippi State has been fighting, it could be a tough one. So it's, to me, people will look at it like, oh, this is 2 teams in the lower half of the SEC, no big deal. But for Arkansas, you've lost 2 in a row to these guys. They're supposed to be at the bottom. You need to stay ahead of them. And if you want to get bowl eligible, this is a really big game to win. So I think there's a lot riding on it for the Razorbacks.
Is Taylon Green going to be more of a willing rusher? It seemed like they wanted to withhold some of his ability to escape and run last week, coming off the injury the week before the bye against Tennessee. To me, that's got to be a big part of it. Is a big part of what Arkansas does. Is that element back this week, in your opinion?
Well, we haven't seen him at practice, and so you just have to think that, now 3 weeks after the injury that maybe he's better. But, yeah, I think you could tell last week there wasn't a lot of intentional runs for him. But honestly, if you look at his pocket presence the last 2 games, he stood in there. And, he was sacked 3 times against LSU. Or it might have been 4, but he completed a much higher percentage of his passes than he did against UAB, Auburn, and A&M in succession when he was on the move and out of the pocket so much. I think Bobby Petrino has convinced Talon that if you trust what you're doing, trust your reads, if you stay in the pocket and believe in your protection, that things are going to happen. And I think that's happened in the last couple of games. So, but his escapability has got to be a big part of what they do. And when you think about the Auburn touchdown, it was the biggest play of the game to Satania. They need to have a little bit of that too.
What about Patrick Kudus? As we're talking with Tom Murphy, Whole Hog Sports Arkansas, Democrat-Gazette. He's going to play on Saturday, according to Coach Pittman. Between him, Blackstock, I think left guard position. What does that look like incorporating another offensive lineman into the flow of the game, Tom?
Well, first of all, you just hope he's 100% and, physical and ready to go. I think what it says is that, they try to evaluate who are our top 5 linemen and who's number 5. And it seems to me that Blackstock is number 5 right now. And so if Kudus can outperform him, does that give you, better protection? Does it give you more chance in the run game? I think you're going to find that out on Saturday by giving him a series or 2. Now, I don't know if it's going to be starting, but it puts it's like, Keyshawn, hey, dude, your job's in question. Get out there and perform, and maybe between the 2 of them, they'll get a solid day because, they've been much better offensively on the offensive front this year. If they can keep that up and get a win here, it'll be a huge sigh of relief for them because you think that you could beat Tech at home and get bowl eligible there.
Tom, stepping outside of Starkville for a sec, you've got 3 ranked matchups in the SEC this weekend. Missouri is in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. LSU is in College Station, Texas, against the Aggies. And then Vanderbilt is hosting the Texas Longhorns. Which game are you most interested in of those 3 ranked matchups?
Yeah, I'm probably most interested in LSU and A&M because, we just saw LSU, and, they're getting better. I told you guys Tuesday, and I think y'all agreed, we underestimated Nussmeier's canny ability a little bit. And it seems to me they got a little bit of a run game going. It's going to be tough against A&M, but I'm not sure if I fully buy into how good A&M is. And if they can win this game, I mean, they possibly could afford a loss to Texas late in the year and maybe still make the playoff, which is crazy. So that's the one I'm most intrigued. But on game day when it's happening, man, I'm paying attention to every one of them, and like y'all are.
You can look at A&M's schedule right now. They opened with Notre Dame. We know they lost that, but they've had Florida, they had the Razorbacks, they've had Ole Miss, they had Mississippi State last week. Obviously, LSU's probably the best team they've played to date this year. So I mean, this is going to be the biggest challenge for A&M that they've seen to date this season.
Yeah, I think so. And Mississippi State picked off Wegman twice last week. And, A&M's defense is stout now. So, and I'm not sure. I think I saw Nick Scourton lead the game last week going to 10. And I don't know what his status is for this one. That's a big deal at defensive end for the Aggies. But A&M is coming on. I mean, LSU is coming on. They played a really solid game against Arkansas last week.
We've watched teams come off the bye. There's been a few examples of teams off the bye play well, but I think for, maybe just pay more attention, there's been more examples of team being flat or a little rusty off the bye. And, we think about Tennessee coming to Arkansas, but you think about Georgia going to Bama and, laying flat in the first half, kind of coming out of it in the second half. You look at, you talk about A&M and Mississippi State, they won the game, but couple interceptions. It's been a little different this year. Oklahoma that got routed by Texas. Missouri and A&M. I mean, teams are this year for whatever reason don't always, you think they should perform better coming off the bye with rest and healing up, but that has not been the case.
No, and it's usually obviously the other way around. I mean, for Arkansas, Sam Pittman was touting his record coming off byes, but they won the coin flip and decided to defer and basically got off like they were on the wrong foot from that very first drive when LSU converted multiple third down plays. I think they got a defensive penalty or two in there, and they just didn't. You never got the sense that Arkansas was going to get back in control of the game. And if you really examine game flow this season, even in the A&M loss, Arkansas, they were in charge of the game flow against Oklahoma State, against Auburn for a large part. A&M was a little bit more balanced, but they had UAB got in front of them a little bit. But Arkansas has done a really good job with game planning and game flow, and I think that's a very important aspect to this game because they didn't have it last game.
Yeah. We were talking earlier, and I used the analogy this morning that, the fans right now, the outside of the program, kind of wrapped in a warm safety blanket of, well, we'll beat Mississippi State, we'll beat Louisiana Tech, and that will get us bowl eligible. To me, that's what adds to the importance of this game. It's just the outside heat, the outside noise that could really get turned up if you lose this game, because I think fans are counting on this game and counting on Louisiana Tech to be bowl eligible. To me, that ramps up the importance this weekend, not just because it's a conference game, but I think the fans are wrapped in that safety blanket I'm talking about, feeling like, all right, this one's a layup, so to speak.
Well, I wholeheartedly agree with your take, but obviously what you're saying is they cannot relax in this game. They cannot take it for granted because if you don't win this game, you're going to have to upset either Ole Miss, Texas, or Missouri. All three ranked. Missouri looks the most vulnerable, but they've owned you. You've never won a game in Columbia. So you'd have to do that if you don't beat Ole Miss or Texas. So there's a lot riding on this game. I'm trying to write about that in my advance for the game. But Mississippi State, you could just tell they're getting better, and they look at this game as the one they can win. And so that's what makes it dangerous for the Razorbacks.
Tom, last thing before we let you go, Kansas Jayhawks in Bud Walton Arena tomorrow night. I know, I would guess 90-something% of your focus has been on Arkansas's game against Mississippi State as well as some SEC. But do you have any thoughts on the basketball game, the first exhibition game of the season?
Yeah, it's going to be a big deal, but what I'm hearing is it might not be like that Purdue game that was like a game. I think there could be some situationals in this game. Change the score, make it some last-second stuff for both teams. So I'm not sure if it's going to have that kind of same feel. But it is the first look at a whole, so many new guys on this team outside Trevor and Brazile. I know that a lot of them are banged up, so you might not be seeing the Razorbacks at full strength. But excitement nonetheless, because a Hall of Fame coach is here, a guy who knows what he's doing, that's brought in a nice roster, and you're going to start seeing how these pieces fit together, who earns minutes, and all that kind of stuff. And obviously with Kansas here, that's a huge draw. So this is back-to-back years in a row where the number one team in the country has been here for an exhibition. That's a big-time deal.
Pretty cool. Tom, we'll leave it there, man. We'll talk with you on Tuesday, get into what happened in Starkville this weekend.
All right, sounds good. Have a good weekend.
All right, Tom Murphy with us here from Whole Hog Sports and the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette every Tuesday and Thursday on the Morning Rush.
Basketball fans, it's that time of year again. The NBA is back. From opening tip-off to buzzer beaters, BetOnline has you covered with the best odds, biggest promotions, and live in-game betting on all of your favorite teams. This season, every game matters. BetOnline has every stat, matchup, breakdown, and live odds to bet on during the games. And it's not just the NBA. BetOnline has odds on everything from football, MLB playoffs, NHL, to even political props. Head to the website today to get in on the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. BetOnline, the game starts here.